block on the first one that Curtis Weaver blocked. The second one that you showed, he just seemed lost to me.
But Skip, you've been around the game long enough, and you know what most coaches have a very good sense, a pulse of their locker room. Urban knew. Once they saw, because not a lot of people saw that in the game. Skip, there are times that things happen in the game. So I gather all the guys around. Let's look at him on defense, or let's look at him on offense. And you can see something like that. So I don't know how many people, man, let's see if Tebow go, let's see if Tim going to get this block. But the source is absolutely right, Skip. When we see things that, like, ain't no way he going to make it. And then he survives, like, okay, well, who does he got pictures on? So he got pictures with somebody with a goat. Because that's what starts going on in our head. And I, Skip, you thought he was going to be a gadget guy. I said, well, Skip, why not just list him as a quarterback and let him run gadgets?
Absolutely.
Why say put him at a tight end, try to get him to do things? I said, Skip, he's never caught a ball, especially in traffic. He's never blocked anybody. There are nuances to that position. And yeah, I was offended that Tim Tebow think he could be away from a game for 9 years and come in and play that position.
Because you're a Hall of Fame tight end. You should be offended. Okay, if you had been the head coach and I said, Shannon, you have to have Tim Tebow on this roster, what would you have said? Well, I could use him how? Well, there's only a couple of ways you could use him: as an H-back, because he was a touchdown machine for the Broncos, and he was a third down, first down machine, you know?
I'm going to play him at a position that he's played. Look, Tim, you might not get very many reps, but on third down, 31, or fourth and short, or the goal line, I'll use you at that. I'm not going to put him in a situation, Skip, where I know he can't succeed, and then when he doesn't succeed, like, well, that's the right thing to do. Well, the right thing to do was not even give him this opportunity, because you put him in a situation where you knew he couldn't succeed.
And to me, ultimately, that's on Urban to protect his son from shame, right? Wouldn't you just tell him, Tim, this is just a bad idea. You can't do this at 34. And Urban's conclusion yesterday, as we just saw,
on Saturday, you knew he was 33. You knew he hadn't played since he was in his mid-20s. And now you bring him on and talk about what, and he said it like very matter of fact. And I'm like, well, bruh, everything that you're saying, you knew before you gave him this opportunity. You knew this, Skip. Special teams requires a different mindset. And as guys start to graduate, Skip, Anthony Lynn, good friend of mine. He was the head coach out here at the Chargers.
Well, you played with him.
Now he's the OC at Detroit. Skip, in 1993, Richard Smith, who's the linebackers coach now for the Vegas Raiders, he was my special teams coach. We're in special teams meeting. We're sitting there watching. He's running just a kick return. I said, Rich, you want to lead the league in kickoff returns? He stopped the tape. He says, that's what I'm talking about. My all-pro tight end wants to lead the league in kickoff returns. I said, if you want to lead the league in kickoff returns, you need to take me off it, because my man going to make the tackle every time. Hey, Lynn, you up. A. Lynn made the team.
Because he was a player. So you just said that's more what he can do.
That's what he can do, because A. Lynn wasn't getting a whole lot of running back.
I got it.
This was going to be his opportunity to make the team. I was done with special teams at that point in time. I had done it, Skip. I had starting in '92, but I was still playing all the special teams. I was the left guard on the kick return. I was an L3 on the kickoff team. I was like, nah, bro, I'm done with this. Let somebody else. This is an opportunity for someone else to get an opportunity to play. But Tim had never done that. Had at least played special teams, at least had done some of the things that he was going to be asked to do. Skip, you can't ask a man. This is the highest level. You can't take a guy that doesn't do any journalism and never written a paper, never written anything, and say, you know what, I want you to be the editor of the Washington Post. I want you to be the editor of the New York Times. What? You set me up for failure. You know I've never done anything like this before. Well, you know Tebow was 34. You know know he's never tackled anybody, run down there on kickoff, or punt, and tackle somebody. You know he's never blocked anybody at the point of contact. And then you're going to talk about, well, he's 34 and tackling, and Skip. And that's what I tell guys. I've seen guys that have actually played tight end, have actually played wide receiver, do all the spectacular catches with shorts and T-shirts. Okay. And the minute you put that helmet and shoulder pads on them, they act like they ain't never seen a football before. The ball hit them all upside the head. It's a different animal when the bullets, pardon the expression, when the bullets start flying, Skip. Yep. You know that. You've seen it happen.
I have. And when Urban mentioned that you have to be able to tackle to be on special teams, where that lost me was, well, why wouldn't you have at least given Tebow a shot on Saturday night? Just throw him in there. Right. Put him on punt cover, but kickoff coverage. Just see what happens.
And so you, Skip, remember when we first had this conversation with Skip, is he going to play special teams? Is he going to be on kickoff, a kick return, punt return? I said, is he going to play? Because I don't believe that he can just make the team just on ability of catching the football and blocking, because he's never done it. So you're asking him to do something. But, Skip, I put a lot of this is on Tebow, because Tebow is arrogant enough to think he was talented enough to be able to just drop down something and do something else, and at the highest level. Well, you know what? I can't play quarterback, but you know what I'm going to do? I ain't played baseball in a decade. I'm going to go try to make the majors. Well, you know what? I hadn't played football in almost a decade. I'm going to go, not only am I not going to play the position that I actually got drafted as a #1 pick at, I'm going to switch positions. There have been very few guys, Deion Sanders and the Bo Jackson and Brian Jordan. People don't realize Brian Jordan was one of the first ones to be able to do that. And he gave up football completely. He did. And had a nice career with the Cardinals. He did. It's good, but it takes a special somebody to play not play two sports, because I play 3 sports. I'm talking about at the professional level, at the highest.
You know what? This is almost like playing a different sport to go from quarterback to tight end.
Yes, it is.
I believe it is.
It is.
Yep. And again, I don't know whose idea it originally was, but Urban originally sold it as Tebow's idea to try.
Right.
But I thought the whole idea was for him to try to be the complimentary quarterback like he was to Chris Leak as a freshman at Florida when they won the national championship.
Well, see, Skip, I was always surprised. I said, well, Skip, why would you bring him in at quarterback when you got Trevor Lawrence and he's the #1 overall pick, and you don't want any distractions? You don't want Tebow mania. You don't want if the kids struggle one game and the crowd starts chanting Tebow, Tebow, Tebow. So
you don't want that, but you just that Taysom Hill kind of quarterback, that gadget guy you could throw in just to mess up a defense, to keep them off balance with a 3rd down run for a 1st down.
Yeah, but Skip, you do realize before Taysom Hill threw a pass or caught a pass, he was all special teams.
No, he was. I agree.
He was all punt return, kick return.
Yep.
Before Sean Payton never let him put the ball in his hands and say, son, run it, son, throw it, son, catch it. He was on special teams. Tim did none of that.
And then we look at a Logan Thomas, who's become a very good tight end and was a quarterback and was a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, but he was also a tight end in high school. I think somebody told me he was like the #1 rated tight end coming out of high school.
And he's 6 feet 6 inches tall.
And he's 25.
And he started tight end at 26 when he turned his career around, obviously. So he was failing as a quarterback. And he just said, hey, I got a shot here because I did play this in high school.
And he bounced, before he actually caught on, he bounced around a couple of teams.
So in the end, Urban said this was the right thing to do. Well, clearly, under these circumstances that everybody got thrust into, it was the right thing to do. I just don't know why it got to this point.
Skip, the right thing to do, if Urban cared about Tim Tebow as much as we believe that he does, you sit Tim down and say, Tim, you're 34.
This is but before all this happened.
Right. Before when Tim comes to and says, Urban, I want to try out. You sit Tim down and say, Tim, you're 34.
You can do that. Especially if you're talking about tight end, you say that's just too much.
Tim, you've never played this position.
Nope.
It looks easy. Travis Kelce and Gronk and the guys make it look easy. But you're asking them to go beat a corner, to go beat Stephon Gilmore on one play, but in the same breath, go block Myles Garrett. Go block J.J. Watt. Really?